How do I pick which positions to liquidate when withdrawing from a taxable or tax-deferred account? So, how do I pick what to like when I'm taking a partial withdrawal? What should I pick to sell off?
Yeah, let's say you have a $200,000 IRA and you want to take out 20,000 for whatever reason. What do you sell? You got these positions, and what should you sell? One thought process might be, hey, I've got this one part that's not doing very well, and I'm going to sell that. Uh, I wouldn't do that normally. Normally, I'd just replace that position.
Hmm.
I'd use this rotational concept that we use and say, okay, if it wasn't doing well, we probably would have already been out of it, especially if it's in an IRA, because we don't have to worry about the taxes. And we're moving on to the next thing that has the better wave. So to me, the model is dominant.
Hmm.
Okay, so I got an example, just a generic example here of kind of what I'm talking about. This is a 50% equity model. We have 10 of them, 10, 20, 30, 40, all the way up to 100%. The blue side would be the stock. The green side would be the bond. You can see we got these big core pieces, right? And then these targets. So it's 3 targets on the stock, 2 on the bonds. And so I am working those core pieces. I have a list of core holdings. They're all competing to be on that list,
Hmm.
right, and get in that model. I use a sports analogy. I played soccer, who's on the bench? That's everybody else on the list. Who's on the field? Those are the people that are in there, the ETFs or what have you that we use. And so there's different size universes. The core universe is much smaller because I'm only going to buy, very broad pieces. The target is much larger universe, actually, a lot more ETFs that we have to choose from that are more targeted, but tend to be a bit more volatile. So we restrict those, right? So I don't want to mess with that. That's what's creating our return. We're trying to beat the market after our fees. I don't want to mess with that and say, oh, I'm going to sell that one target. Well, what if I sell one of those targets? Now I'm underweight stock, right? If I sell that 4% target that's right over my shoulder there. And so the way that we do it, we put it into our software. We say, hey, we want the 20,000 out. It takes a look at that model and it brings it back into line. You usually have something that's over that model. It might be the bond parts, it might be the stock parts or whatever, and it just boom brings it back to this 50-50 model and takes that 20,000 out by essentially taking some of the bigger pieces that have accelerated faster than
Yeah, it's selling off any kind of piece that's kind of overperformed in a sense.
Right.
And so the idea is, since you're not putting this money back into the market, you want to kind of sell at a high point.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's how I would do it. We have a software that does it for us. We don't have to do the calculations, but the calculations aren't that difficult. In my opinion, if you're going to manage your own money, you should have exactly this. Here's my targets, and here's what I'm doing. And I want to, if one of those targets is at 6% or what have you for the stock side, maybe I sell 2% there. And I gather my 20,000 by bringing my portfolio back into line as much as possible. If it's already in line, I might sell a piece of all of them. In today's world, you don't have the transaction costs like we used to.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be $29 to sell a mutual fund. And so if you did that, you just want to sell as least number as you can.
Yep.
Now we don't have that issue. You can be much more refined in how you're doing withdrawals. So anyway, I think that's the way that I would do it on a recommendation basis. It's how we do it here.